Coronel Group. Is that correct?
It's fine.
Will Vanderlip from Yellow Cap and Main Street Arena. Chris Gleason from Jim Price and Monday. Travis Wilbur from Charlottesville Albemarle Regional Jail. And
I'm glad the jail supports Wes.
Meredith Richards. She is. There we are. Yes. She's a famous political person.
Yeah, everybody knows Meredith.
So we've got Wes here. He's going to give some brief remarks.
Very brief.
And then take a brief Q&A.
Okay.
I know it's a beautiful Thursday night. People have places to go.
Right.
It's good. I appreciate everybody showing up. And we got to remember to vote on June 9th.
That's right. Thanks, buddy. Well, thank you, Mark. Let's give him a round of applause, please. Thanks, man. You know, I always tell Mark every time I see him, you're taller than most people think. You're nowhere near as mean to me as you are to others. And overall, you're a pretty good guy, so I like it, man. Thanks, Mark, for all your support. Really. Miss Virginia has told me that I am on a 5-minute limit. So, my clock is starting now. Am I lying, Miss Virginia? I told you to do that? Well, there's tons of friends and family. I think you all are considered family in the room. Really appreciate you all coming out. I know you all could have been tons of different places, but you decided to come out with me. I would be remiss before I go into the speech part if I didn't thank my very good friend, Miss Michelle Busby, for busting her up and taking everybody. I called her 2 days ago and told her I really needed her here, and she said, you know what, Wes, you owe me big time. This is probably about the 15th favor I've asked of her. My tab is just running up higher and higher. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate it. So many of you to name, but thank you all again for coming. And I want to tell you all just a little bit about who I am. So, I'm Wes. I know many of you from several different arenas. I've seen several of you on several different occasions. Some of you on 1 or 2 occasions. Some of you I've never met. But who I am is exactly what you're going to see tonight. I know I may be running for a political office, but I don't always consider myself a politician. I actually think we don't need more quote-unquote politicians. We need people who care. When I say that I'm committed, it's not just something that I'm saying. They're not just words that are coming out of my mouth. They're actions that I feel like we, and not I, but we have shown over the few years in which I've been here. You know, in order for Charlottesville to go from good to great, it's not going to take Wes Bellamy, it's not going to take Mark Brown or Ludwig Kultner or Russ Linden, Kathy Galvin. It's not going to take an individual person. It's going to take all of us working together in order to move forward. I know several of you have seen the press conference that we gave yesterday about affordable housing. I met with a few different people across the city who were very depressed about where they live right now. I know what that feels like. I grew up in a public housing project, a place called Techwood Homes, that was tore down because of the new Turner Field for the Braves Stadium, and also when the Centennial Olympics came rather to Atlanta, and everybody wanted to come to Atlanta, so we couldn't have this ugly piece of land right next to the prime real estate, so they tore it down, and they moved us somewhere else. And I thought to myself, what in the hell is going on? I never forget it. I was 10 years old. I didn't want to move. I didn't want to leave my neighborhood. I didn't want to leave my friends. And I was thinking to myself, and I'll tell you all, don't tell anybody else. They're going to move us around all of these white people. This is going to be crazy. Well, I tell you, I learned a few things there. I learned that my neighborhood and my life was bigger than just my block. I wound up learning that I could form relationships with people who looked very different from me, who were older than me, who had different experiences than I, and the mixed income neighborhood that we moved to was probably one of the saving graces of my life. I wound up living around people whose children were doctors, whose parents rather were doctors, whose parents were professors at Georgia Tech, architects, people who employed people, businessmen, lawyers, attorneys, doctors. They all showed me different parts of life. Me and my friends were now entrenched into a neighborhood that showed me in order to move forward, you need to be able to reach across the lines, whether that's economic, racial, social, whatever kind of lines or barriers that are in front of us. but reach across them and say, I'm willing to work with you to create a better life, not only for myself, but those who are coming behind us. And that's what we want to do here in Charlottesville. When we think about education, I think about my daughter, and I just got engaged. So I went from having one 5-year-old to my fiance who has 2 kids, 2 daughters, to me now having 3 daughters, which is probably going to require a prayer from everyone. But I realized, I thought about my own family, the education system here. I want my children, just like I would want your children, going to the best possible schools that they could go to. That's from pre-K, from elementary school, to upper elementary, to middle school, to high school, and even when they get into college. Or for those who say, I don't want to go to college, I want to go and learn a trade, I want to go and learn a skill. For them to know that that's okay, but there's also light at the end of the tunnel. Because when we promise you that you're going to come through our schools, you are going to be equipped with some of the best skills and tools that you can have in order to go and be self-sufficient and successful in life. That also goes to relationship building. So when we move from affordable housing to education to relationship building in our greater community, I think about our law enforcement agency. I think about Chief Mondo. I think about the conversations that we've had as of late and how we've been working together to build a relational policing model. A model that doesn't just say, I'm going to have community policing, because that term has become outdated. And I could be in the community all I want, but if I don't have a personal relationship with you, if I can't shake your hand and you know that I have your back, if you don't know that, then we're all in trouble. So with the relational policing model, police officers get intimate relationships with their constituents. You all will see now police officers knocking on doors across the city, not because something's wrong, but because we want to get to know each other. That's what it's going to take, us working together. When I look around in this room, I see black people, white people, younger people, seasoned people, very smart people. Yeah, you like that, seasoned. You all know you're just seasoned. Very smart people who have doctoral degrees, some people who didn't graduate college, people from all across the spectrum. That's what this campaign is about. People from all over the community saying that it's time for a change. It's time for us to come together. Take a second, look around the room. Just look. Look around the room. There's people here from all over. When you look at our campaign donors, when you go online and you look at our donor site, we have over 75 people who've given us gifts of under $100. That means we have tons of people saying that we'll give you $5, $10, once I give you $50, I give you whatever we have to make sure that you win. That's the support that we need. But after we win, and not if we win, after we win, then the question becomes, what are you going to do? And I've learned a couple things from the last campaign. 2 years ago, I was a 26-year-old, very brash kid who thought he knew everything about everything. Some people may say, Wes, you still think you know everything about everything. But I'm working on it. I promise you I am. But I've learned in the last 2 years, it reminded me of what I learned when I was growing up as a kid. That in order to build relationships, in order to build bridges, in order to move forward, you have to be willing to work with others. God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Listening is important. I want to listen to you all. I want to hear from you. And then I want you to promise me, I want you all to promise me that you're going to hold me accountable. You're going to say, Wes, you said that you were going to do this. And if I stray from it, call me out on it. If I say that I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and I begin doing GDF, you say, Wes, you said that you were going to do the end of the alphabet, not go the middle of the road. Hold me to it. We need efficient and transparent government. We need government leaders who follow their word. I want you to know that I have your back. When you shake my hand, when you see me in the street, whether that's I'm playing basketball at Thompson Park, or whether we're at the wine tasting event, whether I'm shooting hoops with Mark Brown and shooting his eyes out because he thinks he's better than me, whether I'm here in my suit and tie, walking around the downtown mall, if I'm with kids, if I'm just walking with my fiance, wherever I am, I want you to know that I have your back. But in return, When I look at someone like Paul Byer, I look at him and I say, Paul, you got my back, right? Thank you, Paul. I did a little worried there. You're anticipating that. But when I look at Paul, and I tell Paul, I got your back, and you look at me and you say, yeah, I got your back too. I see my friend Tanisha. When I see her, and I say, I got your back, and she looks at me and she says, I got your back. That's the sense of community that we have to have here in Charlottesville. We got to get back to the basics. You see me, I see you. You're not an enemy. You're not an adversary. You're my partner. I got your back. You have mine. And I need you all now to have my back on June 9th and come out and rock the vote.